So this week I've been a little bit less productive than normal. So yeah, there is always a task in your to-do list that's something either very big or something that you don't really want to do. And it's kind of hanging there and it's always visible and it's always impacting how you handle all the other things. And I had 2 tasks like that this week, and yeah, I kind of moved them all to later, and then the next day I moved them to the day after that. And I realized that it took me 4 days to actually even start doing those things. And the reasons can be very different. So like the customer can be a pain in the ass, and maybe the project itself is going in a direction that you're not too happy with it, but the customer is always right and all that. Or maybe it just requires a lot more mental capacity or sort of mental strength to actually even start it, because it requires a lot of thinking and a lot of very precise actions. And yeah, in my case, there was actually both of those things, because I had a project that was both very big and it also had very unprecise requirements. So it was a lot of back and forth, and it was really hard to get the information right. And I made a couple approaches, like trying to do something for an hour or so and then move on to the next thing. And yeah, that doesn't really quite work. What I realized is that the whole fact of this being kind of in the back of your head and kind of over your head all the time, it's really impacting like the entire life quality. So not only other projects, but like pretty much everything else. And yeah, the best approach here is to actually kind of like really commit to it. Like really think that, yeah, I need to get this over with. And yeah, it may not be fun, it may not be really cool. Hopefully you don't really get a lot of things like that onto your to-do list. I only get them every now and then, and luckily most of the stuff I have on my to-do list is actually things that are very fun to do and things that I really enjoy doing, or even projects that I really like doing or completing. Yeah, but you can't really avoid it, and at some point you'll get something onto the list that is really this sort of elephant in the room, big thing that you pretend that it's not there and you start doing all the other things. Yeah, but it's always gonna be there. So one way I handle this is I really commit to like 2 or 3 hours to do this task. Even if it normally would take longer, I still try to set like a time window. So if I'm not gonna be at least halfway done in 3 hours, then that's fine. But I committed, I put in some time, and if I manage to do a part of it, that makes it a lot easier to commit and to do a lot more, you know, in the next run or in the next sprint. So the main problem is with actually starting and prioritizing. So I try to move that one task to the top of my list and just sit down and start doing it. And what helps is actually to clear your desk like completely. So there is no distractions, there is nothing that can take you away from it. Mute your phone or just throw it in a drawer. Just be in the moment and be completely focused on just having this nightmare of a task off your list as soon as possible. So yeah, the point is just to do it, because it's not gonna do itself, and moving it further, it's just gonna increase the anxiety. And I'm guilty of doing the exact thing this week, and I don't really feel good about it. So I kind of sat down yesterday and finally finished it. And I think that it was really worth it. And yeah, and I could have done it on Monday, really, because I had all the information. I just wasn't really in the mood of tackling this, because it was difficult. It required a lot of thinking. It required a lot more than normally, because I couldn't really do most of these things on autopilot. Just try to put that little difficult nightmare in front of you first, because when you actually get through it, it's gonna be a lot easier to kind of, you know, use the momentum to finish all of the other things. It's gonna give you a lot of mental capacity and strength and motivation to get some more stuff off the list the same day. So how do you handle those big tasks? Do you put them off for later indefinitely, like every day you put them out for tomorrow? Or do you do them right away, or do you prefer to take off some little tasks from the list first? So it might actually be better to just kind of commit and do it, because putting it off for later is gonna have it hanging above your head all the time, and it's gonna impact negatively all of the other things that you plan to do. Well, anyway, let me know. Thanks for watching. Click that like button, don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time.